Can I become a social drinker again? This is probably one of the number one questions that I get asked by clients when they are on their sober curious journey, right? And it's when people are in that kind of they're thinking about their drinking a lot. They're thinking about not drinking a lot. They've done some dry Januaries. They've taken a few weeks off here and there. They don't like the consequences of their drinking. The consequences are becoming more and more frequent, and they don't want that. But they really don't want to give up alcohol because they still believe that alcohol gives them a lot of benefits, and they don't want to give those things up. So what they want to do is it's two things. They either want to become a social drinker or a normal drinker. And I want to explain the fallacy of that. So the thing is about social drinking or normal drinking is it's completely undefined, right? What does that mean? Does it mean how often, how much? What social or normal drinking means to you is it's defined by your peer group. So how your peer group drinks is normal or social, right? And what a lot of us have done is normalized abnormal drinking. So if it's normal for your peer group to binge drink 2 days a week and you will have jobs and mortgages and whatever, people do not see that as a problem. They see that as normal social drinking because everyone does it, right? I had interactions with a doctor in Los Angeles who only drank very expensive wine from Napa Valley every single night. She drank a bottle, and she had lots of other friends who did the same thing. That was normal. That was normal drinking to them. So do you see where that's going, right? It's the thing is about normal social drinking. First of all, there's a belief that you need to have alcohol in order to be normal or social, right? That without alcohol, you certainly can't be social. The reason that we spend so much time trying to drink like a normal person is because of a faulty belief. And it's the belief that alcohol is the best way to have fun, excitement, belonging, connection, to relax, and to reward yourself. And if you don't have alcohol in your life, then you can't have those things. So that is why people spend so much time and energy trying to figure out the secret magic formula to drink alcohol and get all those things without the cost and the consequences. And the research shows us that people generally spend 10 years playing that game, a whole decade of your life playing around, trying to get alcohol to work for you from the day that you begin to suspect it might be problematic to the day you actually quit. Because there's no such thing as social normal drinking. There's just no such things because it's a carcinogenic substance. It's so bad for us. It's so toxic for our body. You can't make that normal. Now, I want to give you a really good example of how this works within peer groups. This was before COVID, and this kind of went around the online sober communities. There was a moms group in Canada that was having a day drinking festival for mothers. And so it was in a magazine. It was actually a little news article as well, where all these middle class mummies would get together during the day with their little ones and drink a glass or two. Now, there's lots of people who think that, well, what's the harm in that? Because what was being stressed was, connection with other mothers, being a stay-at-home mum can be really lonely. It can be really hard. And, happy mummy, happy baby, right? Now, again, I agree with all those things. It is. I've being a mother of young children is lonely, is hard. Connection with other people is really important. And they were putting this spin on it that like a glass or two of rosé, mum's getting together, everyone leaves feeling so much more positive, all of that kind of stuff. And it kind of continued to the point where they did a day drinking festival. My mind is blown, right? Who's driving home? What if there's an emergency and a kid needs to go to the hospital? But here's the thing. That's a really good example of the normalization of abnormal drinking, right? That's abnormal drinking. But it looks acceptable to the peer group because those mothers were middle class and white. If you transferred that to lower income or Black mothers, people would see that completely differently and it would be judged differently. So we normalize abnormal drinking. And, I've seen people do that a lot. Like if their alcohol is expensive or they do it in expensive, acceptable ways, then it's not problematic drinking. So the reason that we want to do this is because of the faulty belief that if you don't have alcohol, you can't get all of the things that alcohol promises. But here's the question. Is alcohol delivering on its promises to you? If it's not, and you want to stop drinking, by the way, make sure you check below because I have resources that will help you. It takes us a while to figure out that you can have fun, excitement, belonging, connection. You can relax and reward yourself without alcohol. And all those things are better. Like it's a better experience. That doesn't happen overnight, right? You don't quit drinking and then, everything's fine and normal within a week. It takes a little while. I remember when I first got sober, I thought my life was going to be over. I 100% knew for a fact I was never going to have fun again because it was so deeply embedded in me and reinforced by my peer groups that you needed alcohol to have fun. And you didn't just need alcohol to have fun. You needed to be as drunk as possible. The more drunk you are meant the more fun was had. That was my belief system. It was a faulty belief system, but nevertheless, those were the rules that I lived by. So here's the question for you. What rules do you live by around drinking and fun and socializing? Because whether you can see it or understand it or not, you live by them. We create these beliefs, they become rules. And mine was the more alcohol you consume means you had the most fun. Now, that wasn't true. Because the more alcohol I had in an evening, the actually worse it got. Terrible. It was awful. It was messy. It was humiliating. It was expensive. It was pointless. But I couldn't see that because I believed the rule. I believed the belief. So a lot of this process is about dismantling the belief system that you have. I was about 18 months sober when I had this massive realization. I was out with some friends. Some of them were drinking. I wasn't. And I had this massive realization that I was having more fun than they were. They were missing, we were at a concert, they were missing the songs because they were at the bar. Then they had to go to the toilet because they'd been to the bar. And why come to a concert for your favorite band and miss it? Because you're in line to get alcohol or it takes you 10 minutes to find the bathroom. What? So we cannot see things as they actually are. We see things as we believe them to be. And that is why people get so fixated on wanting to become a social or normal drinker. It's because of what they believe about alcohol and drinking. And I'm asking you to question those beliefs, dismantle them, and see if they're true. Is alcohol delivering on its promises? Does it bring those things? Yeah, sometimes I had fun drinking, but a lot of time I didn't. And here's the thing, here's the big thing. There was always a really high cost, a really, really high cost to pay. So even when it was fun, the cost was never worth it. I just couldn't see it at the time. We can't see it at the time. I couldn't see that the cost wasn't worth it. Let me know what you think below.